Awful lot of lag. I mean, the process. There's a lot of things that have to happen to get it to fire up.
Yeah. When I was testing it like 2 days ago, I just hit start stream and like go live, and it all worked right away.
No problem. So one of our concerns was the awful lot of lag. I mean, the process. There's a lot of things that have to happen to get it to fire up.
Yeah. When I was testing it like 2 days ago, I just hit start stream and like go live, and it all worked right away.
No problem.
Pretty sure you can.
Okay, they're here. So one of our concerns was the lag. I mean, the process. There's a lot of things that have to happen to get it to fire up.
Yeah. When I was testing it like 2 days ago, I just hit start stream and like go live, and it all worked.
There are 5 categories of workplace violence. Category 1, violent acts by people who have no connection with the workplace other than to commit a crime. Category 2, violence directed at employees by customers, clients, patients, inmates, or other organizations. There are 5 categories of workplace violence. Category 1, violent acts by people
I have to show controls, which is in the embed side.
That's the
But play video. So, and part of the problem might be that we have our mic right next to the TV. You know what I mean? So
yeah. So you get feedback off of that. Yeah.
Which I mean, you probably solve by just muting your mic when you play a video.
Yeah. Well, that definitely is something that will work.
Category 2. Versus 2. Category 3.
Hey Tanner, bring that that little table tray and set the mic off a little bit from the TV so there's less feedback. Well, good morning.
Hi.
How are y'all this morning?
Hang on.
You've made it yet another day through the COVID-19.
Right.
Excellent work.
Reading updates on the schools. Apparently, there's a school district employee has self-reported being
Yep.
positive for it. So
Yeah, so they got
Call off sick. So that crazy feedback.
Your seat?
No,
No,
you're
no,
no,
he's
I'll
not.
sit over there. That crazy feedback is because you're listening to the video and it's recording the video, playing back the video, listening to the video, recording it, playing back. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah, I get you.
So it wouldn't sound like that.
We're
otherwise.
going through our webinar options.
no, run over to me.
So, and trying to iron out some of the technical kinks. So it's been a bit of a challenge. So, okay, so what we just discovered on our current webinar is we have a bit of a latency issue.
You just gotta reduce the.
Like a lag in
Yes.
speech.
Fairly substantial. How do we address that?
It's just a delay. It's not necessarily a lag. It's a delay, which we can reduce the delay. I just have to look at settings.
Well, I think that it's gonna we have to get it to the point where it's almost simultaneous casting, or streaming, or whatever the heck
Yeah,
the
we
word
can
is
do
going
that.
to be.
I'm pretty sure.
Because we can't have any real lag in conversational dialogue with a class like MapPro. Ain't gonna work. So it does play sound. One of the issues we found is that one of our webinar options does not play the sound on videos for the student.
Oh, that's not fun.
So we're like, well, that isn't gonna work. So we're using
OBS.
OBS
Open broadcasting software.
and recording, and then having it done through YouTube, our YouTube live channel. And that is what we're now testing this morning, and that is showing me that there's a little bit of a latency issue. So we got to figure that out. Or we're just gonna have to bite the bullet and get a hold of an actual webinar program plug-in and stick it in there and make that work. But it's kind of like, you know what it is? It's kind of like Enrollware. There isn't a program out there that does all you want it to do. There are programs that do parts of, but not all of. So you end up having to have this like 3 or 4 different processes to get one thing done.
Some of
The
the
overall-
webinars I've seen too, there's a lag on them. The students are just used to webinars having that problem, but
Yeah.
some of these CPR students are not going to be typical webinar
No, they're going to be,
watchers, so they're not going to understand the lag.
yeah. We're trying to make it simple for their end. Click this button and then then they just have to basically participate. But it's getting that set up. There's a lot of settings we've got to go through to make it work for each class, and so we've got to simplify the process.
I'm sure we'll be able to reduce the delay to where it'll be usable.
Yeah.
The only question, the only thing
No attention to you.
only thing we don't get now is them being able to actually talk. That's it.
Yeah, and also that's the other thing. This one doesn't allow the students to exchange feedback. They have to chat it. So you have to have a moderator read the chat to pull the questions to the instructor. So versus an actual webinar live action piece of it. So we've done so far, and I'm going through, and I'm going to do the same thing with all the medical classes. We're going through and looking at all the online elements from the student's perspective and kind of retweaking. Hey, Tanner, can you put Chica?
Chica.
She doesn't know how big
Chica.
she is.
We have one.
Just stick her in the hallway there.
No, you're good.
Chica. Chica.
I'm not trying to participate. There we go.
Come here.
No, I'm good. Slave anything.
It's Chica. So we are going to be settling our webinar off issues this week is the plan, and then also going through looking at it from the student's perspective. We had so many updates. MabPro has been growing so fast. We had so many updates last year that it messed with the online continuity of the course. So when you took it from a student's perspective, it felt like you were taking like 8 or 9 different courses because all the updates kept layering on top of other updates. So I had to go through and clean up the continuity of the course a little bit last night. So we did that, kind of doing a little housekeeping. So are you aware of any webinar program that doesn't Google have a classroom program?
They have Google Classroom.
Yeah.
In fact, that's what they're talking about putting the students on.
Yeah.
The PE teacher is going to be doing workouts through Google Classroom for my son's school right now. So that may be an option. I don't know that Hangouts.
Hangouts had some limitations. It doesn't do sound.
Hello, how are you going? What's the point?
Sound through video.
Sound like video. I can talk, but if I played a video, you could watch it, you just couldn't hear it.
Now, are we going to have any issues with someone on the end user side where their microphone's not functional on their computer they're using?
If we're gonna use this, their microphone will matter because they have to chat anyways.
Well, the answer to your question on the other side of that is yes. That's always the case, where people are not tech savvy.
Right.
Unmute your mic. Well, they're down on the sys tray looking for something to unmute their mic with. So yeah, we probably will run across that. That's why it's kind of important as part of these webinars. You got to have a setup section where people dial in and you kind of iron out that class's kinks, because it's probably always going to happen. If somebody's video's not working, the mic's not working, and some of it's going to have to be on the end user. If you're going to join a webinar, you probably need to have all your shit square so that you can actually do so.
Right.
But
So it's good to have a monitor, they chat, and then they can answer them like, hey, go here or whatever.
this is kind of our plan B. This one right here we're looking at. It's functional. It does it. They can chat with it. It's pretty simple. All they really do is click one button that says start, and then they're just there with a chat window, right? So this is pretty simple. But if we want to have more functionality, more fluidity to the class, then we're going to have to look at other options to see what we come up with.
But generally, the same build of the class is the same. It would just be a different embedded webinar. So like how it works is a student will buy.
Well, your taker, let's go all the way. Can I just backtrack it?
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
Okay, so they come in here. They paid for their course, so now they're over here in this My Courses section, and they click on. Is it this
First
one?
one.
Yeah, this one. And this will be the same format for the MedSec classes. And then they click on their module.
When it's time to go train. If it's not time for the webinar, that page will be blocked and it'll tell them when it's time.
And then this comes up and you hit start.
Taker, let's go all the way. Can I just backtrack it? Yeah, you can. Yeah.
It's like 15 seconds.
Yeah, so.
Okay, so they come in here. They paid for their course, so now they're over here in this My Courses section,
Video of what
and they click on.
by setting up the training.
Is it the first one? Yeah, this one.
The conference canvas.
And this will be the same format for the MedSec classes.
They can only mark as
And
complete.
they click on their module. When it's time to go train. If it's not time for the webinar, that page will be blocked and it'll tell them when it's time. And then this comes up and you hit start.
One.
Taker, let's go all the way. Can I just backtrack it?
Just trying to keep track of everybody.
So over here, they paid for the course, so now they're over here in this.
So,
My course.
but it'll be the same concept. The only difference is when they click start the module, the other program will come up instead
Okay.
in its place. So for the end user, it's pretty straightforward access. For us on the backside, it's a little complex. So we've got to clean that up a little bit. Right now we've got three people scheduled for the beginning of April. So we're hoping that's kind of our crunch time to start getting all these bugs ironed out. So you guys had some time to kind of kick over, mull over what we were talking about the other day. By the way, this is Tanner. Tanner is our IT technical marketing guy. Helps get all this stuff up and off the ground. Does a lot of cool work. So what do you thoughts?
I like the webinar idea, especially with everything going on right now. Also makes it to where even when you're doing a live class, if you have the option where you have a monitor sitting in, you can make it a bigger classroom size because you can have people sitting in on a webinar while live one's going.
You guys had some time to kind of and from a program's perspective, from MapPro's big picture perspective, as in training instructors, you would have to train an instructor on how to run an actual webinar. So that would add a whole other dynamic to the instructional pieces because that's as it's proving out, it's going to be its own thing. I'm going to have to write a module that is specific, like a community CPR class, that is just a webinar version of it. That walks the instructor on checking the setups and has like a behind the scenes little flip book of you run into this problem, do that kind of a gig.